Tonight, another seasonal strapping.
It was honestly just panic at that moment. I wasn't sure what to do.
Homeowners left aghast after another summer storm pushes a tree onto their house. Also tonight, what we know about an incident at a local mosque that's prompted a hate crime investigation. Plus, getting peace of mind.
Because he just doesn't have a sense of danger.
One woman's simple solution for her child with autism who's prone to running away, but why she says it's out of reach for families like hers.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. It has been a summer of storms in Manitoba, and last night was just the latest hit. From toppled trees to downed power lines, the destruction across the city of Winnipeg was extensive. CTV's Joseph Bernacki is standing by with the latest. So, Joseph, I know Charleswood in particular was really hammered by this storm. One home in particular took the brunt of it, from what I understand.
It sure did, Marilee. In fact, it stopped me in my tracks, as well as many other drivers passing by. A huge poplar tree tore right through the roof of a home, and the owner I spoke to said he knew Wednesday's storm was different. It was that instinct and quick thinking that may have saved him and his wife.
And all of a sudden, it just shot through the roof.
Charleswood resident Gunnar Friedrich and his wife were sitting in their living room late Wednesday night, watching a fast-moving storm. Friedrich says he stepped outside and saw a large branch from an ancient poplar tree in the front yard. Seconds later, adrenaline and sheer instinct kicked in.
And all of a sudden, we saw this massive tree just kind of flapping up like this, right out of the ground. And we were like, we have to get everything into another room. And then as soon as we did, that tree came right through our living room. Friedrich's neighbor was shocked to see the aftermath Thursday. Extreme winds forced the tree's roots right out of the ground.
I've never seen a tree, being pulled out like this in my whole life. It's really scary.
In fact, those wind speeds on Wednesday exceeded 100 kilometers an hour, according to Environment and Climate Change Canada.
I would say probably in excess of 110 to 120 kilometers an hour over the city of Winnipeg. It's just been a trend towards a year with more rain and more wind and more severe weather.
And Proctor says the trend in weather patterns this year suggests there could be more storms to come as we approach the halfway point of summer. The damage from Wednesday's storm was not contained to Charleswood. This is what's left of the announcer's booth for football games in Maple Grove Park. And in Silver Heights, crews were hard at work restoring the downed farmers market at Food Fair.
We have to have this quick turnaround because we commit to these farmers for the season, right? We need to make sure we can move their vegetables because this is their livelihood.
Meantime, Friedrich is hopeful insurance and city crews can help get their home back in order.
I just want to be able to move back in. I know that there's a massive hole and everything, but I want to get the tree off my house, ideally.
The City of Winnipeg says as of mid-Thursday, they've taken 689 service requests related to the storm, 41 reports of traffic signal malfunctions, 21 reports of debris in the streets, and 9 reports of plugged catch basins. The city is prioritizing debris removal from houses and streets at this time.
Joseph, what about the power outages? What's the latest on that front?
We do, Marilee. A spokesperson from Manitoba Hydro's got information for us. As of 5 p.m. today, there are about 18,000 customers without power. Crews have restored power for more than 10,000 customers thus far, most of which were affected in the city of Winnipeg. It's worth noting there are several smaller outages scattered across southern Manitoba, and estimated restoration times may vary.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at tonight's Skywatch forecast. I mean, we were tracking, or you were tracking, some severe weather last night, but it was a bit of a surprise of just how hard hit Winnipeg was in all of this.
Yeah, the southeast was the one quadrant of the province that basically was not under a severe thunderstorm watch when we were on air 24 hours ago. But it was a potent system. That cold front I was talking about, that did affect other areas. We had a tornado-warned storm to the northwest of Thompson. You know, it cut into that excessive heat and humidity and it just did what it did, including here in Winnipeg. Other parts of the province affected as well. We'll get to that a little later on, but it was also quite the light show over Winnipeg too with that lightning. Take a look at this video. This viewer, her name is Hillary. If you look through her blinds, the lightning changes colors. We see blue, we even see a flash of red. Just a interesting look at the lightning show that was over Winnipeg. A lot of other folks saw incredible lightning too. So we'll have more a look at that. We'll look also at more of those downed trees here in Winnipeg. But that cold front, it pushed across southern Manitoba. It lingered over the southeast this afternoon, and it's now made its way over into northwestern Ontario. And that's where the severe thunderstorms are firing off right now. We have places like the Dryden region under a severe thunderstorm warning, as well as these neighboring communities, including Sioux Lookout. Outer layers, or outer areas rather, including Fort Frances under a severe thunderstorm watch. I'll have more details on that. You'll notice it wasn't quite as humid today thanks to that cold front, but it will get hotter and more humid again as we close in on the long weekend. More on that to come as well. Let's take a look right now through the CTV Live Eye. It's brought to you by Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, it is 29 degrees with the humidex. It feels like 34, but somehow that's not quite as intense as yesterday. North winds at 21 kilometers an hour. The pressure is dropping, and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 48%.
Thanks, Colleen. A widespread mosquito spraying campaign is being swiftly launched as West Nile concerns ramp up. Provincial data collected last week shows high numbers of adult bugs with West Nile virus. The province says the recent heat wave in southern Manitoba is speeding up the pest's growth, increasing the risk of a human infection, so it's spraying as soon as tomorrow. Exact date and times for the spraying will be posted on the provinces and rural municipalities' websites, as well as details on how you can apply for a buffer zone. Now, the areas impacted include a 3-kilometer perimeter around Carman, Stonewall, West St. Paul, Winkler, and the city of Winnipeg. However, only parts of Manitoba's capital will be sprayed with Delta Guard. Kenniston and Northtown Road, King Edward and Old Commonwealth Path, and the North Perimeter at Provincial Trunk Highway. A tragic update now to an attack downtown we told you about last night. Police say the woman who was stabbed in the entranceway of Portage Place Mall has died. It happened just before 3 o'clock in the afternoon Tuesday. Police say the victim was 58-year-old Helen Annie Spence, who was a member of Grand Rapids First Nation but had been living in Winnipeg. A 23-year-old woman was arrested early Wednesday morning and remains in custody, charged with second-degree murder. Hate crime investigators have been called in to probe an incident that left a local mosque with thousands of dollars in damage and community members shaken. Winnipeg police received a report of property damage at the Rama Islamic Center on Watt Street around 11:30 last night. Multiple smashed windows could be seen at the building today, along with what appears to be bullet holes in the walls and windows. In a statement, the center said people were inside the building at the time and shots were fired from a vehicle before the people got out and attacked the building with weapons. It was also reported to police earlier in the day that a vehicle drove by with people shouting racial slurs at those gathered there. No one was physically injured and no suspects have been identified. The National Council of Canadian Muslims is holding a media conference tonight to discuss this incident. In response to the crime, Winnipeg police are stepping up patrols around the center and other mosques in the area. It's also asking anyone with information or video to contact investigators. A Manitoba mom wants help tonight keeping tabs on her son who lives with autism because he is a flight risk. Shailene Chartrand is speaking out after a missing 11-year-old Calgary boy was found dead this week. Chartrand says that tragedy hits close to home because her 10-year-old son Brixton has also gone missing before. With more, CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. So, Jeff, what exactly is Chartrand calling for?
A tracking device for Brixton to keep him safe. They are available, but she says there is a cost attached she can't afford right now. Like any mom, Shailene Chartrand keeps a close eye on her 10-year-old son at the playground, but she has to be more diligent than most.
He just doesn't have a sense of danger.
When he was 2, Brixton was diagnosed with autism.
He wasn't really hitting his milestones appropriately. He was walking on his toes. He was flapping his hands a lot. He also wasn't really trying to talk or communicate as much.
And Chartrand says Brixton likes to run. She says in a split second, he could be out the door and gone if one of these specialized locks is not secured. He has gone missing before, one time for a few hours. Luckily, he was found safe and sound.
Could die. He could get hit by a car. He could drown. It's a big fear. He could get taken because he doesn't understand.
She wants to get set up with a tracking device for Brixton, like this bracelet from the nonprofit organization Project Lifesaver Manitoba. The bracelet emits a signal that can be tracked on the ground for 1.5 kilometers and in the air for several kilometers. Chartrand says the cost is out of reach for her right now. She'd like the province to provide funding for families like hers.
I don't think parents should have to choose between that, like their financial stability and keeping their child safe.
In a statement, Families Minister Nahanni Fontaine says they will continue working with families to improve accessibility and ensure children who need additional support can live as safely and independently as possible. I understand this family has reached out to my office, and we have reached out to them and to their case manager to learn more about their situation and better understand how we can support them. Chartrand is speaking out now because of a tragedy in Calgary where the body of a missing 11-year-old boy with autism was found.
Within a drop of a dime, it could just be your family.
These tracking devices can also be used by families who have loved ones living with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Down syndrome.
So, Jeff, what is the cost of the bracelet program then?
According to Project Lifesaver, the cost is around $600 for the initial enrollment, and then a $20 monthly fee for the replacement of the battery, bracelet, and administrative costs. But their website says the fee could be reduced if they receive sponsorships from other organizations.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. Nurses working in the emergency department at Bethesda Regional Health Centre are demanding action tonight to address patient safety. The Manitoba Nurses Union says currently there is only one triage nurse working at a time at the Regional Health Centre. This means nurses can sometimes be responsible for as many as 30 patients at a time. And according to the union, that creates conditions where some patients wait more than an hour to be triaged and more than 8 hours to be reassessed. It wants the province to add a second full-time triage nurse to the ward.
Every nurse is terrified that they're going to have a death on their shift that shouldn't have happened. So these nurses have been asking for help for a very long time and have now put in writing to the Premier and the Minister of Health and to the senior management at Southern Health.
In a statement, Health Minister Yusoma Asagara writes, in part, in response to the concerns raised by nurses at Bethesda, we have been working with Southern Health to assess the region's staffing needs and will be working collaboratively with them and staff to explore all possible options to address the challenges raised, including adding a second triage nurse to help improve patient flow, support frontline staff, and strengthen patient safety in the emergency department. A longtime downtown business is closing its doors. Signs posted at the Giant Tiger at Donald and Ellis say it's closing November 7th. This isn't the first location the discount retailer has shuttered in Winnipeg in recent years. It closed a location on Main Street and another on McPhillips back in 2024. Now, at that time, officials told CTV while theft and violence were affecting its Winnipeg stores, it wasn't a factor in its decision to close. We reached out to Giant Tiger to ask why it decided to close this latest location. We are still waiting for a reply. A controversial development adjacent to Granite Curling Club can go ahead as planned after variance appeals were rejected today. The appeal hearing was launched by well-known local developer John Winthrop.
There seems to be a lack of information, even when it's mandatory for all my clients submitting applications. I have not seen it here today. I've asked to see it. It has not been provided. In the absence of information, doesn't automatically make compliance with the charter. You're going to have one set of rules, apply them equally.
As you just heard, Winthrop accuses the city of applying its own rules unequally. Several individuals spoke out against the appeal, including the project's architect, who shared these artist renderings. The variance allows the proposed building to reach 126 feet instead of the typical 100 feet and provides for slightly narrower parking stalls. Executives with the curling club also spoke in support of the appeal, saying they hadn't been properly consulted. Ultimately, though, the appeal was rejected. Councillor Vivian Santos explained why she is behind the project as presented.
There has been precedence in height variances in similar areas adjacent to the legislature, and so I am satisfied with the slight variance in the height from 100 to 126, and it is a minimum modification in this particular area.
The Property and Development Committee voted unanimously to deny the appeal. The proposed Granite Riverside Commons development would involve a 12-story, 110-unit mixed-use building. Police seized rifles, ammunition, and a significant amount of drugs after an RCMP investigation culminated in the search of a home in East Winnipeg. The force says officers carried out a search warrant at a home on Goodfellow Way late Tuesday night. That's in Transcona, not far from the intersection of Lachemodier Boulevard and Regent Avenue. Police allegedly found a loaded semi-automatic rifle, a semi-automatic shotgun, ammo, 408 grams of cocaine, and roughly $150,000 in cash. This all happened after a 37-year-old man was arrested earlier in the day as part of a drug trafficking investigation. He's now facing 11 firearms charges along with possession for the purpose of trafficking. Hockey Canada's National U18 Men's Club Championship is coming to the Wheat City next year. The Keystone Centre today announced it's been selected as the host for the 2027 Telus Cup.
Schultz and Hugh and Gardner out still scored!
You're looking at this year's bronze medal match, which went to the Regina Pat Canadians. The event brings together 6 teams from across Canada to compete for the national title. Organizers in Brandon celebrated the decision, saying it will highlight not only Manitoba's passion for hockey, but also generate a significant amount of economic activity. The championship at the 4,600-seat arena, which is also home to the Brandon Wheat Kings, will run from April 19th to the 25th. The City of Winnipeg wants a new community garden to spring up on the old exhibition grounds. The city has put out a request for proposals to transform the location into a space where fruits and vegetables can be grown. It'll be located near the intersection of Sinclair Street and Dufferin Avenue. Whoever gets the contract will have to protect existing infrastructure, such as play equipment, trees, and light poles. At the same time, they will supply and install planter boxes, new water service connections, and a new fountain. The city plans to spend $675,000 on the project and wants it completed by July of next year. Still to come tonight, WestJet flight attendants now in a position to walk off the job Sunday.
We're actually headed to San Diego, and so our dates are like right in the middle of the potential strike.
The latest on the negotiations and what you need to know if you have a flight booked. That's next. Markets tonight, crude oil dropped 87 cents. The Canadian dollar added 0.3 cents. Gold gained $63. The TSX rose 172 points. The Dow Jones closed 613 points higher, while the Nasdaq is up 679 points. Turbulence ahead as WestJet flights could be grounded as early as tomorrow. The union representing flight attendants issued a 72-hour strike notice, and the airline today retaliated. But there is still room for negotiation. CTV's Kathy Lee takes us through the next steps before WestJet applies the brakes.
A labor relations expert says the posturing between WestJet and the union is expected and all part of the bargaining process. Both sides have now issued lockout and strike notices, but there's still time to reach an agreement and avoid a work stoppage.
For many WestJet passengers, today's trip comes with a question mark. They're traveling knowing their return could look very different with the strike looming.
We're actually headed to San Diego, and so our dates are like right in the middle of the potential strike.
Obviously, I'm a bit worried about it. I think there's probably some alternatives I could get from there if it was impacted.
As bargaining continues, the union representing about 4,400 flight attendants has issued a 72-hour strike notice, while the airline has responded with a lockout notice of its own. In a statement, WestJet's CEO saying, "We sincerely regret the inconvenience and uncertainty this continues to cause for our guests." The union planned a press conference but canceled, saying in a statement, "Unfortunately, the parties are still too far apart on some key issues." Flight attendants voted 99% in favor of a strike mandate earlier this month. Wages, unpaid work, and working conditions, the major sticking points at the bargaining table. Issues similar to why Air Canada flight attendants went on strike last year for 3 days. This labor relations expert says despite today's escalation, there's still time to reach a deal.
It's really not uncommon at all to see these kinds of situations resolved with an agreement at the 11th hour.
While a strike could begin as early as Sunday, some flights could start being grounded as early as tomorrow unless a deal is reached. At least for these travelers, they are taking it in stride.
A little bit of panic, but you know, we're going on vacation anyways. A few extra days doesn't hurt.
Getting stranded in LA isn't that bad.
The strike and lockout notices come a day after both sides agreed to a wind-down plan, which outlines the details of how operations would be scaled back and how crews would be returned if there is a work stoppage. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Airports like Toronto's Pearson International are warning passengers about the potential travel disruption. So, what do you need to know if you were flying with WestJet? CTV's Alison Bamford has the options available and the protections in place.
The whole time been thinking about the what ifs.
The Mescal family is flying to Ontario, where they were supposed to meet up with their daughter, who's flying in from Montreal.
We had sort of alternative plans designed and thought through just in case there's a strike, and so with the news today we've decided to sort of go with that plan.
To avoid any possible flight disruptions, they canceled their daughter's flight and instead will drive to pick her up. WestJet is offering free cancellations and one-time changes to all passengers booked between today and August 4th to limit potential strike impacts.
If they are able to move their dates, it's best to do so, just in case the strike does happen. It just makes it easier for the clients and for WestJet.
Gabor Lukács, president of Air Passenger Rights, recommends travelers stay put until WestJet cancels their flight.
Once they cancel your flight, you have far more rights.
If WestJet cancels flights, they're required to book passengers on the next available flight, including competitor airlines, or they must provide a refund. It's the passenger's choice. If these cancellations happened preemptively before the strike, Lukács says passengers are entitled to even more.
They have to provide you meals and accommodation and a lump sum $1,000 compensation, up to $1,000.
The Saskatoon airport encourages passengers flying with WestJet over the next few days to reach out directly to the airline if they require assistance. The airport says they do have plans in place to limit any potential disruption. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Through open data sources and court documents, CTV News has unmasked the identity of the Canadian intern accused of spying on NATO. Her job at NATO's Military Command Center was cleared by Global Affairs after being vetted by CSIS. CTV's Judy Trin digs deeper into the details.
Reuters reported that the Canadian intern arrested for spying at the Military Command Center of NATO was named Claire Zed, which matches a former Statistics Canada employee identified in this federal court document. Claire Biwei Jiang worked in Ottawa and was accused of fraud, of deceiving the Canadian Border Services Agency into thinking she was two different persons. Documents show she was born in 1993. It's not known when she became a Canadian citizen. This former CSIS director says the suspect was caught before she could do greater damage.
The payoff for that operation is 15 years from now when that individual is the director or director general or higher. That's the big payoff, because then you have access to real information and useful information. At her level, the kinds of information she would have access to would be probably pretty minimal.
An account linked to Zhang shows that she was seeking an apartment in Mons, Belgium a year ago. The Post says she's starting an internship at Shape NATO. Zhang has degrees in economics and engineering. At the University of Ottawa, she was part of the Smart Connected Vehicles Innovation Center. The lab does research on artificial intelligence, self-driving vehicles, and drone technology.
If the third-party country is in fact China, it shows China's interests.
Her LinkedIn profile says she also did work for the World Trade Organization, the Canadian Space Agency, and the European Space Agency. Before starting her work at NATO, her security clearance was approved by the Government of Canada after being vetted by CSIS.
There are a lot of opportunities to turn people, but sleeper cells sit for very, very long periods of time. And so the sort of reverse engineering that is done of this process to understand who she is truly and what we knew about her and what we should have known about her is going to be very telling.
CSIS has recently put out a warning that international students could be used in foreign interference operations. Zhang was first hired into the federal public service in 2017 through a federal student works program. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The man who gave his 14-year-old son a gun as a Christmas present has been sentenced to 15 years in prison. The son went on to use that gun to kill 4 people at a high school in Georgia.
But for you failing to get cult help, but for your failure to remove access to the guns, this doesn't happen.
Colin Gray was convicted of several charges, including second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. Earlier this week, his son, Colt Gray, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for a shooting at Appalachia High School in September 2024. Russia is showing no signs of halting its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Strikes today have left at least 8 people dead and dozens more wounded. Cleanup in a town close to the Polish border is underway, with residents and rescue workers searching for survivors. Cities and towns across a wide area of Ukraine were targeted by missiles and drones. The intense violence follows reports of a shortage of interceptor missiles, which Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been highlighting. Russia's defense ministry says its air defense downed more than 250 Ukrainian drones overnight as they targeted depots linked to Russia's largest online retailer. And with those Russian attacks targeting Ukrainian areas so close to its border, Poland scrambled fighter jets earlier today to secure its airspace. Sirens could be heard in the early morning hours southeast of Warsaw. Closer to the border, residents in an eastern town reported a loud explosion and found a crater and debris. Poland's government believes the cause was likely a Russian ballistic missile. Rescuers are racing to find survivors after that deadly earthquake that hit Japan, as the death toll from Tuesday's quake has risen to 23. Crews are searching through a badly damaged shopping mall that was filled with shoppers when the earthquake hit. An explosion tore through the mall, causing its second floor to collapse. 6 people are confirmed dead. Crews are also searching through a paper factory after a chimney collapsed, killing 8 people. 10 people there have been rescued. 1 is still missing. And in southwest France, more than 80,000 people are being allowed to return home. Wildfires there have already burned an area 4 times the size of Paris. At its peak, that fire displaced more than 220,000 people and destroyed 240 homes.
You'd hope that that performance isn't necessarily lingering to the point where they're distracted by it.
It's in the rear view. That is the message coming out of the Blue Bombers locker room tonight as the team hopes to get back in the win column. We're going to check in with them after the break.
And a hot and humid start to the August-long weekend. Saturday, Sunday, abundant sunshine, 29 degrees on Saturday, 32 on Sunday, and both those nights, very warm overnight lows, right around 20 degrees, so not much relief there. I think some folks will consider Terry Fox Day's temperature a little bit more civilized, 24 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud, 23 in the sun Tuesday, back up to 26 degrees on Monday with continued sun.
The Blue Bombers are back in action tonight, just 6 days after being stomped by the Stamps in a sloppy one-sided affair. And the team is looking to clean things up against the BC Lions at Princess Auto Stadium. Here's CTV's Daniel Hammerson.
A short week and a short memory. The Blue Bombers are ready to put last Friday's lopsided loss to the Calgary Stampeders behind them.
Anytime you kind of lay an egg, the best thing to do is just get back out there. You can say what you want about the rest and this, that, and the third, but for sure mentally and just being able to get back out there and go play football again, it's a blessing.
All 3 phases struggled mightily in the 52-30 beatdown. The offense coughed up 6 turnovers, 4 on picks thrown by quarterback Drew Brown. And the defense and special teams looked porous, with several missed tackles leading to a bunch of points on the board.
You'd hope that that performance isn't necessarily lingering to the point where they're distracted by it. You know, you got to move forward and you got to prepare against a different opponent that presents different challenges.
There were some bright spots. Brady Oliveira had his best game of the season, running for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. But he says the blue and gold simply didn't get the job done.
We have to be better. I mean, we're in a business of trying to win football games. So, again, whatever it's going to take each and every week, I just want to win, and I believe all my teammates as well. We just want to win football games.
Defensive end Willie Jefferson, who's tied for the CFL lead in sacks this season, says each phase of the game needs to complement one another.
Offense has to play for the defense has to play for the offense, and the special teams has to bring it all together and keep the crowd into it and keep the energy up.
And the 4-3 Bombers will put that philosophy to the test Thursday night when the 1-5 BC Lions come to town, led by rookie quarterback Caden Salter, making his first CFL start.
What do I want the defense to do? Just make sure they're executing at a high level and certainly understand what he's capable of and don't take anything for granted.
Kickoff from Princess Auto Stadium goes at 7:30. Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
All right, dress accordingly. Maybe tank tops, blue and gold tank tops tonight at the Bomber game. It's going to be a hot one.
A hot one, yes, but we will not be hitting the repeat button tonight. We should not be seeing those storms. Now, to be clear, we knew there was a very good chance we could see thunderstorms move into Winnipeg late last night, but to the severity with which they wound up firing off, not so much. Now, that has moved off. It was the cold front that moved across southern Manitoba that was largely responsible, largely the trigger for those storms, slicing into that even hotter humid air mass that it encountered yesterday when it was so hot and so humid. Now tonight, yeah, not a bad night to be out at the Bomber game for sure. It looks like the winds will start to ease up too into the second half of the game. Not that they're all that strong now, but they're coming out of the north. Otherwise, a nice night. Next door in northwestern Ontario, not so much. That's where the cold front went, and that's where the severe thunderstorms are moving through the region now. Now, we've got this line of storms that's passing through Rainy River and Fort Frances, riding along the international border. But right here, we have a severe storm that has now moved out of Dryden and into Sioux Lookout, and that's why this community is under a severe thunderstorm warning. But Dryden, although it's sunny there now, remains under a severe thunderstorm watch, as do other areas like Fort Frances to the south and other areas a little further to the north. The entire region still under Environment Canada's heat warning. And then last night, of course, we had that tornado-warned storm that moved to the northwest of Thompson. It did produce some pretty sizable hail, and right in Thompson, up to loony-sized hail was spotted there. Tonight, we have a funnel cloud advisory in effect for a good swath of northern Manitoba, particularly the northeast, including places like Split Lake and Churchill and Gillam. These funnel clouds typically are not a danger when they stay, of course, well up into the sky, but should they start to come closer to the ground, you want to keep your eyes peeled. Likely we won't see that, but again, just be vigilant. Funnel clouds can potentially always become tornadoes. Now we get into the night ahead. We will clear out across much of the province. Those storms moving off out of northwestern Ontario. Watch for fog developing in Kenora as early as this evening, maybe a little later for the rest of the region. We shouldn't see fog here in Winnipeg. We actually should have a fairly clear night overnight. Taking us into Friday, sunny across much of the province, or a mix of sun and cloud. There's a chance here and there of a few showers, although the chance is fairly low. The greatest thunderstorm risk appears to be around the Parkland region, but on we go into Saturday and the start of the long weekend. Lots of sunshine as we push through into Sunday. For tonight, 16 is our low, a few clouds, winds at their strongest this evening out of the northwest, sunny and light west winds tomorrow, 20 degrees for the commute in the morning, up to 28 in the afternoon. A little windy, those winds pick up out of the northwest and gust. Best chance of showers tonight will be this evening at Churchill, Gillam, and in Thompson. Thompson tomorrow goes to 25 with a low chance of showers. Churchill has a low chance of showers as well tomorrow, a high of 22. Lynn Lake, you may see showers early this evening, clear through Flin Flon and the Pod tonight. Mix of sun and cloud around the region tomorrow, highs in the mid-20s. A few clouds tonight over the southwest. Brandon down to 13, 15 overnight for Dauphin. Dauphin and Swan River do have that thunderstorm risk in the afternoon with a low chance of showers. Brandon up to 27 under a mix of sun and cloud. Winnipeg in the southeast for the most part fairly clear, overnight lows 15, 16 degrees tonight. Sunny here tomorrow, 28. Mix of sun and cloud outside the city. Similar highs, 27, 28. And in northwestern Ontario, again, fog as early as this evening over Kenora. Overnight lows, 17, 19 degrees around the region. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud, and hot highs around 27 or 28 degrees. Our first weather photo, take a look at this. 1, 2, 3 trees side by side, all knocked out by that storm. Now, this was south of the perimeter, west of Highway 59. That photo is from Stephen. Just an incredible shot there, as is this next one of this downed tree here in Winnipeg. That photo is from Ken. Email us yours to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
And they just kept sweeping it under the rug as, oh, it's hemorrhoids.
Except it was much more serious. One woman's mission to raise awareness after she says doctors ignored symptoms of her colon cancer for more than 3 years. Medical Watch is next. FIFA wants to sell stakes in the World Cup to private investors. Now, Europe's governing soccer body says it will boycott future World Cups if those sales go through. Jacqueline Lee has the details.
New controversy ahead of the 2030 World Cup. In emergency meetings today, two major governing bodies taking action after FIFA President Gianni Infantino offered each of FIFA's 211 member federations an instant initial $20 million payout if they agree to sell stakes in the World Cup to private investors. Europe's governing soccer body, known as UEFA, voted unanimously to boycott the tournament and any other FIFA events before then. Later in the day, CONCACAF, which oversees North American federations, also held an emergency meeting and rejected the proposal. FIFA says participation would be voluntary and no member would be required to participate.
Strengthening the commercial side of the game is the natural next step in this evolution. So we believe that the FFE proposal would unlock the sport's potential in every corner of the world across men's, women's and youth football.
UEFA's 55 member associations pushing back, releasing a statement saying in part, quote, no UEFA national teams will participate in any FIFA competition for so long as these proposals remain alive, unless this proposal has been abandoned in its entirety and binding assurances have been given that FIFA will never again open its governance or competitions to private ownership.
UEFA's calculation is that if we boycott ourselves from this tournament, it's not a World Cup. It's like the NBA without the Celtics or the Knicks or the Lakers.
The boycott would also cover the Women's World Cup, which is set to hold playoffs in October. This coming after the Men's World Cup swept through the United States this summer. The contagious excitement spread across social media as thousands of international visitors discovered the delights of different American cities while rooting for their favorite teams. UEFA also saying in a statement that the moment external investors acquire ownership interests in FIFA competitions, football changes forever and commercial return becomes a permanent obligation. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The death toll from a fast-growing Ebola outbreak in eastern Congo has now surpassed 1,500. The latest government update shows as of Tuesday, 3,442 infections had been recorded, with 1,521 deaths. The African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say the rise partially reflects a backlog of cases and deaths which hadn't been confirmed or recorded yet. Health experts say response efforts have been hampered by delays in contact tracing, difficulties assessing certain areas, violence by armed groups, and mistrust from communities. Neighboring Uganda declared itself free of Ebola Tuesday following the discharge of its last patient in mid-June. A story now that speaks to the importance of early detection with a particular focus on First Nations health. A 39-year-old Indigenous woman with colon cancer is on a mission to raise awareness after she says her symptoms were largely ignored by medical professionals. CTV's Abigail Beeman shares her story.
After 2 days, a nurse comes and disconnects the bag from me.
Jillian Niles shows us the realities of chemotherapy, part of a determined quest to prevent others from sitting in this hospital bed.
Numerous doctor's appointments saying, like, listen, there's something wrong. I don't feel good, and I'm having trouble going to the washroom. It's irregular. The blood in my stool is concerning, and they just kept sweeping it under the rug as, oh, it's hemorrhoids.
Niles suffered debilitating pain for 3.5 years, begging to be heard. she says, before a doctor finally ordered further tests.
Then they found my cancer, but they found it at stage 3.
Incensed it wasn't caught sooner, despite detailing symptoms and telling doctors her grandmother died of colon cancer. As an Indigenous woman, she says she was caught up in stigma.
They were very happy to say, okay, you're in pain, let me give you this medication. But at the same time, I was saying, no, I don't want the pain pills. I want answers.
Both incidence rates and mortality from colorectal cancer has increased in our Indigenous Inuit Métis populations, which is kind of alarming.
Radiation oncologist Mark Godet says that's true across all age cohorts. In general, colon cancer rates are on the rise for Canadians younger than 50. Niles wants screening ages lowered further. She is just 39. And of all of the parts of her life she's grieving, she can't work or volunteer. The hardest is being less hands-on with her 3-year-old son, Jack.
It's very unfair because I want to be the best mom I can be in the world. So hopefully I'll make that up to him next year and for the rest of his life.
In the meantime, she's grateful for family, including her twin sister.
I believe in you. Okay, good.
And the help of nurse Diego Caesar with the Ottawa Hospital's Indigenous Cancer Program.
A later diagnosis, having to go through multiple avenues to get an answer, feeling unheard. I think that is a really common theme for everybody who's going through healthcare right now, but especially Indigenous people.
Niles hopes sharing her story will encourage others to self-advocate.
I want to really spread that awareness with everybody that you have the power to ask for help.
Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
We are a generation commanded by fate to defend humankind. Everyone fight.
And now you can meet the brave soldiers who fought the bugs in the 1997 classic Starship Troopers. How many members of the cast are going to be at this year's Winnipeg Comic Con? Next in Spotlight.
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Mark Norman, the Mumbo Jumbo Tour.
Just a heads up, Ballet in the Park has been canceled once again tonight. The Royal Winnipeg Ballet says it's because of both the high heat and damage to the site from last night's storm. All 3 scheduled performances at Lyric Theatre this week were canceled due to the temperatures, but you won't have to wait too long to see the dancers in action. RWB Revealed is scheduled to take over 2 North Square between August 19th and 21st. The event offers you the chance to watch training and rehearsals for free between 9:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. Winnipeg Comic Con has a real treat for fans of a cult science fiction classic. They're bringing in 4 stars from the movie Starship Troopers.
Hey, kid, what's going on? War! We're going to war!
Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, Michael Ironside, and Jake Busey will all be coming to Winnipeg for this year's Comic-Con. The 4 all starred in the 1997 movie, which was directed by Paul Verhoeven, who also directed RoboCop. In the nearly 30 years since it came out, Starship Troopers has won over a huge number of fans who now view it as a brilliant satire on fascism. There you go. The cast members will be signing autographs and taking pictures on Saturday, October 31st, and on Sunday, November 1st. Ted Lasso Season 4 starts streaming next week, and today we're getting a first look with this new trailer.
Oi, welcome back. It's good to see you. You too.
The new season picks up with Ted facing a new challenge, coaching a 2nd Division women's soccer team. The 10-episode season premieres on August 5th, with episodes dropping weekly. Well, have you ever wanted to walk a day in Eminem's shoes? Well, now you can. About 100 pairs of sneakers that belong to Eminem are hitting the auction block next month. The shoes are also signed by the rapper. There are Air Jordans, Air Max, Pumas, and Adidas up for grabs, mostly size 10s. The listings went up this week, and the auction will be held on August 25th. All of the money will go toward the Marshall Mathers Foundation, which is an organization dedicated to providing assistance to disadvantaged and at-risk youth. Marshall Mathers, I believe it is. Your primetime lineup kicks off with The Big Bang Theory at 7. Children Ruin Everything follows at 8. And at 9, watch Traders Canada. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
They're more like us than we thought. What behavior researchers have just observed in chimpanzees, that looks pretty familiar to us humans.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon.
Tonight, strike uncertainty for WestJet passengers.
Very stressful for everybody.
What are your options if the airline cancels your flight? We'll have that story and more later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
On this day, 51 years ago, we set the record for July 30th, 35.6 degrees. So today, not even close, but still quite warm, 29 degrees. Tonight, just a few clouds at most, down to 16. Mainly sunny on Friday, 28 degrees, setting us up for a warm August-long weekend. Saturday and Sunday, lots of sunshine, 29 Saturday, 32 Sunday, 24 on Terry Fox Day on Monday, merrily under a mix of sun and cloud. 23 in the sun on Tuesday, back up to 26 with more sunshine on Wednesday.
Thanks, Colleen. Finally tonight, new research shows chimpanzees comfort each other during stressful situations, just as humans do. Scientists say these connections help ease tension and prevent conflict in groups. The findings also shed light on the animal's evolutionary path. Humans and chimpanzees are all linked to a common ancestor species which lived about 7 million years ago. Friendly touch to bring comfort and diffuse tension might be an evolutionary behavior. Chimps also use gentle pats proactively to help prevent their peers from getting upset.
Oh.
I'm not really surprised. I feel like they are very similar.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
At least this is a nice one. It's a good one.
That's
comforting.
What I was thinking.
All right. Go Blue Bombers. We'll see you back here tomorrow.